Well, hello, hello, hello. As I've heard Tim say over and over again, hello, 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 everyone. Thank you again for joining us for Module 2 of our private money wholesaling system, where you're going to now learn how to use our Rolodex, which is one of the fun things that what makes us different than a lot of the other guys. I'm sure you remember the saying that we said on the webinar: if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach a man to fish, you feed him for the rest of his life. Well, this is going to be the part where we're going to give you the fish. This is the part where we're going to show you the instant gratification part, where you're going to be able to present your deals. You're going to be able to use our Rolodex to fund your deals and get paid, and to fund your clients' deals as a private money wholesaler and get paid. So that's what this module is all about. And so, with no further ado, let's just jump right in. Over the next little bit, what we're going to be talking about in this module is how to use our Rolodex. And in that process, we're going to show you how to market your services. Now, that's going to be how to dominate your market as a private money wholesaler. Basically, this is going to be a very simple process. A lot of you have already started marketing your services and are already getting clients looking for deals, and that's great. Well, we're going to give you a few more ideas that you can do to build up your services and get a lot of referrals for your business. We're also going to show you how to qualify your deal, because it makes no sense to send a deal that isn't going to get funded, and it wastes your time. So we're going to show you how to qualify the deal. We're going to show you how to make sure it's a deal that you want to do. We're also going to show you the process on presenting deals. We're going to take you step by step through this process on how to present deals to our Rolodex. And it's going to give you the most bang for your buck. So I know this is one part you definitely want to stay tuned for and listen very closely for that aspect of it. We're going to show you exactly what to include in your presentation. This is going to let you know exactly the step-by-step process that you're going to take to include the items that you're going to include in your presentation. We're also going to give you an example, and this is an example of a presentation that I myself have actually done. And as a result, you're going to see how, and it was funded. This was a deal that was actually funded. And you're going to see it's a very simple presentation. It's not a lot of fluff. It's not dozens of pages long. In fact, it was all done in one email. And the relationship factor was a big part of it. And that's, one of the things that we're giving you is the ability to piggyback off of our relationships. And we're also going to be showing you in later modules how to build your own relationships instantly with built-in credibility, so that you can get to the point where you are presenting deals to your own sources as well. And we'll talk about that later. But in this part, you're learning how to use our Rolodex, and that's going to be all-inclusive. And we'll show you how my presentations got the lender to say yes. We're going to also show you how to a proof of funds letter. Like I said, part of your services, part of the ways that you're going to generate business for yourself is by offering your services to clients for transactional funding, and also to be able to provide them proof of funds letters. And we're going to show you a very simple format that you're going to be able to use to get on-demand proof of funds letters that are going to make your process very simple, and it's going to add value to what you do as a private money wholesaler. And finally, we're going to go ahead and we're going to show you how to get paid. That's pretty much the whole reason why you guys are here, isn't it? We're going to show you how to get paid. So let's go ahead and start off with step number 1. Let's go ahead ahead and talk about how to market your services. Well, here's a few items that you can do, and one of the best things that you should definitely start doing right now is to start creating your own business cards. And we'll talk about a couple of options, and I'll show you a little template that you can use in just a second. The business cards are definitely a must-have in this business. When you go to the RIAs, when you go to the title companies, when you meet with realtors, when you meet with private lenders, you want to have a business card, and that is, and you want that business card to accurately convey what your business is and what your services are. So, believe it or not, number one should be your business card. Another way to market your services is to offer the transactional funding and the proof of funds letters. For your standard transactional funding, we have a deal for you through one of our really good relationships where you're going to be able to offer the funds for the 24-hour transactions at 1.75. If you actually want to, you can even charge an extra point or half a point on top of that, and that can be additional fees and additional revenue for you. And that's just quick money. But by offering the transactional funding and offering proof of funds letters, you're adding additional value for yourself, and this is going to generate more and more business. This is going to make sure that they keep you in mind whenever they have deals. Of course, we've talked about going on to Craigslist, Backpage, Kijiji, and local sites. There are many local sites that are available to you that you can put your ads on. And like I said, it does not have to be anything huge and in-depth. Very simple formula for putting an ad out there is to say something along the lines of, private money lender has money to lend. Send me your deals. Now, one of the students sent in a question a day or two ago that said, do we represent as if we are doing the lending? And the answer is no. We do not misrepresent ourselves. Unless you yourself are willing to fund and have the ability to fund some of the deals, you're not going to represent yourself as the funder. But in the email or the ad that I just mentioned, you're not saying that you are the private lender. You say a private lender. Just private lender has money to fund. Has money to fund your deal. Send me your deal. So that very well could be a different private lender. It could be somebody else. But you're not going to say, I have money to lend, unless you actually do, and unless you are planning on funding at least some of the deals. Now, I do, in some cases, fund some of these deals, and therefore, I do sometimes say that I do fund deals. But that is something that you would do on a case-by-case basis and make sure that you are not misrepresenting yourself. Again, Craigslist, Backpage, Kijiji, local sites, these are all options for you to market your services. Again, you've heard me say this before, but your local real estate investor association, if you were to just stand up in the middle of the room, or when they are saying that they are offering I guess you could say time for people to offer their services or to offer properties they have to sell, there's always a time where there is a networking aspect to the group. And if you were to stand up and say, I have private lenders with money available to lend, send me your deals, or I have access to private money, send me your deals, or I'm interested in partnering in deals, however you want to say it. Again, without misrepresenting yourself. But just the fact that you have access to private money, you're going to be the most popular guy in the room. And that is going to get you all the business you're ever going to want. But again, with the RIAs, you can offer the transactional funding. You can offer the proof of funds letters. You can offer your access to private lenders. You can offer to create a database of private lenders for individuals. That's something that I do. It's a little more advanced, and we'll be talking about how you can actually do that through the use of public records in the next module. So definitely make sure you stick around for that one. But by joining UREA, by being a sponsor of UREA, these are definitely ways that you can set yourself apart and make sure that you let the people know that you are open for business. Title companies and closing attorneys are definitely a great resource that you can use as well, because they have a vested interest in making sure that a deal closes. When a title company takes an order, they don't charge up front for the most part, and as a result, they only get paid when the deal closes. So if you send your business cards, again, that business card is going to be one of your pieces of lifeblood for your business. If you leave your business card with the title companies or closing attorneys and let them know that you have access for private money, that you have access for transactional funds, and that you are investor friendly, this many times will get you referrals that just come out of the blue, because these title companies and closing attorneys are by all means interested in making sure those deals close, and so they will get your name out for you. Very useful tool. Realtors, again, have a vested interest in dealing with people who close deals and in the process of financing. So if you give them your business cards, you can actually send a pile of the business cards over to, say, the real estate investor, the realtor association in your area. If you decide you want to sponsor them, you can actually leave these cards in their mailboxes, and you can actually drop them off at brokerages, or, again, build relationships. Find out who the investor-friendly realtors are in your area. These will be the REO agents. These will be the short sale agents. These will be the agents that deal with primarily investment-type properties. And make sure that you make yourself available to them. Make sure that you let them know what you do. They will become a source of referrals that can reach out much farther than you could yourself. And so that's a phenomenal way that you can get additional business. By just doing some of these things or all of these things, you're going to flood yourself with deals coming into your inbox, coming into your through your phone, that you're going to have more deals than you know what to do with. And as I said before, we're going to talk about how to qualify the deal, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. For many of you, you are actually getting one of the fast action bonuses, which is a list of wholesalers in your area. But even if not, wholesalers are a phenomenal resource. Again, you could go through the Real Estate Investor Association. You can also sign up for a number of places where people are sending their deals, and places like DoDeals.com or MyHouseDeals.com, which list wholesale properties all over the place. This is a phenomenal place to find and meet wholesalers. And there are wholesalers in your area. There always are going to be wholesalers in any given area. And again, for those people, they have a vested interest in getting deals closed. Therefore, they're going to become referrals for you. So, as I said, if you'll just go through a few of these items, or if you go through all of these items, you're going to definitely get as much business as you can handle. Now, about those business cards, I want to give you just a basic idea of what you can do with your business card. You know that's not me, and it's not Tim, though his haircut could be Tim, so that's another story. But this is just an example of how you can create your business card. This is actually very similar to a realtor's card. It has their picture, has their business name, has their contact information, has their website and email address. Now, this is very important that you put your face on a card. If you have the opportunity to do so, that face on a card is a huge selling point. There's a reason why realtors do that. And the reason is this. People make their buying decision. People make their investing decision. People make any type of decision moving forward on an emotional basis, and relationship is key. And so, you know, you're not able to every time, be in front of them and show your face to them. But when they see the card and they see your face on that card over and over, this puts a subliminal touch that you are there, that they know what your face looks like. They know who they're dealing with. I've heard it over and over again. I love putting a face to the name. I'm sure you've heard that before as well. That's why this is such a powerful tool. And yes, you can use our template on being able to create your own business card as well. But it is very useful to use your picture on that card. So on the front of the card, as I said, what I recommend is your picture on there, your business name, your name itself, along with your title, which is Private Money Wholesaler, along with your contact information, email address, and website if you have it. On the back of the card, I like to put the actual services on. The back of the card should show the services you offer, your transactional funding, your proof of funds options, private money, deal structuring consultation if you want to add that to your repertoire, and private money database creation. Again, that's a little more advanced. This is where I actually offer my services to create a database of private lenders for you as a client, and that's something that I charge big bucks to do, and you can too. And I'll show you exactly my step-by-step process on how that's done. Now let's talk about how to qualify a deal. This is very, very important because, as I said before, we do not want to go ahead and take so many deals that you just don't, that's wasting your time on deals that very likely may not get funded. But in this case, this is an opportunity to know how to say no to a deal. And guys, I've said it before, you're going to learn how to say no to a deal because you're going to have so many good deals out there that even by taking the low-hanging fruit, the cream of the crop, the deals that are 50 cents on the dollar and lower, the deals with good-sized down payments, the deals with seller carryback financing and things like that to make your deal structure that much easier and make it a no-brainer for the private lender, where you literally would have to say, guys, are you an idiot that you don't want to fund this deal? Well, the fact is these guys are not idiots. They're going to want to fund those deals that are just that simple and such. You can get those deals over and over again, and you'll still have more deals than you know what to do with it, especially if you follow some of the tools that I just gave you in the previous slides. But let's talk about how to qualify the deal. And as I've said it before, this is the key point. Put yourself in the lender's shoes. Ask yourself the question, if this was my money, would I do the deal? And look at it as if this is your money. Because in the end, This is your money. This is the money that you're going to be able to make over and over again. And keep in mind, private lenders, even though we've worked hard and diligently in building up these relationships, you definitely have to realize that your relationship is only as good as the last deal that you provide them. In other words, if you lost the money because it was not a quality deal and it was not one of those deals that they would be happy with owning after presenting the deal, well, are they going to want to do business with you? The answer is no. So you want to put yourself in the lender's shoes. And by putting yourself in the lender's shoes, you're going to ask yourself a very simple question. What's their security? And the security is you. Obviously, we've talked about that. It's the relationship with you. But in this case, the security is the property. The security is your understanding of the property, and it's the security that you want to make sure that they're only getting the best deals. Not just because you want to get a deal done, but because you want to make sure that it is a true win-win situation. So in this case, go to the collateral. What's their collateral? Not just their security. Their security is their trust in you, but their collateral is the property, and in a worst-case scenario, that's what they end up with. So ask yourself a very simple question. Would you buy the property for the loan amount? Would you be willing to take over the deal? If it went bad, would you be happy saying, you know what, I would love to own this property for that loan amount? If the answer is yes, that's a slam dunk deal. That's a deal you want to do. And that can add, I'm not saying you have to say that. I'm not saying that you have to do that, where you say to the private lender, you know what, if it goes bad, I'd love to own this property and I'd be happy to stand behind the deal. I'm not saying you have to do that, because these guys are big boys too, big boys and girls. They, in the end, make their own decision on whether to fund a deal or not. However, that can be additional security. That can absolutely be additional security when you say, you know what, God forbid, pigs fly, the guy doesn't pay his bills, or something bad happens to good people. Well, you know what, I'd be happy to own this property. I'd be happy to take over this property and stand behind it. Guess what that private lender is going to say? Wow, this guy is really looking out for me, and this must be a really good deal, or else he wouldn't necessarily want to do that. This has got to be a slam dunk deal, and this is going to make the lender all the more happy to fund the deal, and all the more excited about the deal. So, number one, put yourself in the lender's shoes as if it's your own money, because it really is. And ask yourself, what's their security, or what's their collateral in this case? And would you buy the property? Would you buy the collateral? Would you take it over for the loan amount? If you can answer yes to those questions, you've got yourself a really good deal. Now, as to the process on presenting deals, let's go ahead and talk about the process. Now, we've talked about giving a man a fish and feeding him for a day, teaching a man to fish and feeding him for the rest of his life. Well, this is where we're giving you the fish. We're going ahead and we're giving you, we're not only teaching you how to build your own sources, but we're giving you access to our Rolodex of private lenders. Now, a lot of people say, well, why don't you just give me the list? And we've tried that before, but the fact is that most of the people, when they receive the list, they never do anything with it, or they don't know where to start, because this is a pretty massive list. And let's be honest, many people just don't know where to start when it comes to that, and making a call out of nowhere, even though this is a relationship that we've developed, it can be a lot harder to do. So to be able to piggyback off of our relationship, to be able to piggyback off of our credibility, we've come up with this system and this process to give you the most bang for your buck and to make sure that your deals have the best chance of getting funded and it should also make your job that much easier too. So this is what the process looks like as a result. Number one, you're going to present the deal. Very simple. That's when the magic happens behind the scenes. What we're going to do is support is going to review, and I am part of that process, and other private money specialists that are part of our credibility and our relationship building process and know the system inside and out. They review the deal, and we review the deal, and we make sure we ask the questions to make sure that the deal is solid. Number one, we got to make sure that the deal is solid so that you know that it's something that has been qualified. Number two, we want to make sure that the deal is presented clearly. And number three, that you include all the items that are needed. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. But once that's done, we're going to go ahead and we're going to present it to all the lenders in that area who have said that they will lend in that area. Now, it doesn't make sense to send somebody a deal that's from California if they only want to lend in California a deal from Michigan. But there are dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of lenders that have approved lending in your area. There are plenty of lenders in every geography, and you'll have no problem with getting your deal seen by a number of private lenders, a number of qualified private lenders for that property. Once that's done, the lenders are going to respond. They're going to show their interest, and there are going to be some people, there's going to be a person that says, I'm excited about the deal, I want to do the deal, and they're going to take their exclusive position in it. At that point, they're going to be given over to you. They'll have questions, they'll want further clarifications, they're going to want to build that relationship with you, and you're going to want to do the same, because after this is all said and done, this is a private lender you can continue to build relationship with over the rest of your career as a private money wholesaler. You do not have to go back to the Rolodex and to our system to go back to this private lender. This is a relationship that now is yours and yours alone. So that's a phenomenal resource that you can have available to you. Once that's done, and once they've approved the deal, they're going to give you a term sheet. They're going to give you their approval in writing, along with their terms that they're requesting. That would be the interest rate they're looking for, the term of loan, how long before a balloon, if they're even looking for a balloon, whether they're going to have late fees, or if they are going to charge points, which most of them don't. All the different things that have to do with that particular loan is going to be the process that they're going to follow in their term sheet, and that's what they're going to ask. You're going to just, at that point, turn the term sheet in, along with your fee agreement, which we'll talk about in a moment, and you're going to let the closing process happen. That's just as simple as it has to be. And most of that process is being done for you. So really, at this point, the steps that you're a part of is the presenting of the deal, and then after the lender responds and said, yes, I want to do the deal, I'm very interested in the deal, and gets that exclusive time frame, then you're going to be there to answer any additional questions about the deal, and take their term sheet and turn it in along with your fee agreement for the closing process. It really is a 1, 2, 3 step, because the rest of it is all the stuff that we're doing for you in the Rolodex. So let's talk about what to include in your presentation. This is going to be very important, because we want to make sure that you are covering all your bases, that you're answering the who, what, when, where, why, and that you're including all the documentation needed. Now, when I say documentation, It's not a lot of stuff, and you're going to see it's not a lot of things, and it doesn't have to be done in a completely, I guess you'd say, business-like manner. Yes, you want it to be professional, and you want it to be clear and concise, but you don't have to do double space, and you don't have to get a specific font or a specific letterhead or anything like that. Let's go over what you will have to have. Now, I have been getting a lot of people that are just sending in deals. In fact, I got a gentleman that sent in a deal of 20 houses that basically looked like they were pulled off of the MLS and had not even been reviewed. They just seemed to be properties that could be bought under a certain price value. Now, there's a very good chance that he hadn't even looked at those at this point. If we were to send those deals in, that would be a problem, because if he decided not to do them and the lender was interested in it, then we've got ourselves a problem on the other end. So, as I've said before, and you've heard it in last week's Q&A, and you've heard it in several places other than that, we want you to have the property under contract before you submit the deal. So the number one item that we want to make sure is included is the contract itself. So the contract is a very, very important aspect, because we want to make sure you have it under control. And this is only to your benefit as well. Number two, we're going to want the address. And guys, make sure you include the city, state, and zip code. I've gotten some that were just street addresses, and I didn't know exactly where they were. I want to make sure that it includes the entire address. It will help in the clarification process. I want you to include the value, including supporting factors. Now, it's not necessary, I've said it before and I'll say it again, I'm sure, it's not necessary to get an appraisal on the property unless the specific private lender asks for it. At that point, then it can be ordered and the client will be the one responsible for that cost. But until then, you can still give other supporting factors, such as Zillow, Trulia, Cyber Homes, and of course the tax value. You know, I was talking to one of the students earlier, and he sent me a property that had a Zillow value of $82,000. Sorry, actually it was a Cyber Homes value of about $82,000. However, by just looking at that document, it showed two things: that the property had been bought over just over a year ago for $192,000. Also, the tax assessment was $130,000. So I immediately asked the question: Are those absolutely accurate? If they are, that is incredible supporting value factors that you can absolutely include into the deal to propose and to support the fact that you are getting a heck of a deal. Yes, the comps right now are showing that it's that you should probably be able to sell it in the mid-80s or 90s. However, just so you know, this property had been bought over a year ago, just over a year ago, for $190,000. It's tax assessed for $130,000. These can be really great selling points on the value. It's very likely a good area, a decent area, and it's very likely a very desirable area, which can influence the private lender as well. So include supporting factors, and think about it again from the aspect of the private lender. What makes me interested in this deal? So include those supporting factors. I also want you to include an executive summary. Again, it doesn't have to be all gussied up and in a position where it's so professional that it loses its flavor. But I want you to just come up with a basic story that explains what makes it a good deal. What makes you excited about the deal? What makes you interested in doing this deal? What makes it a good deal? And so this executive summary is going to tell the story. It's also going to include the loan request, and it's going to include the exit strategy. So I want you to include all that. And as long as you do, you should be fine. And then, other than the contract, the most important thing is going to be the pictures. I want you to take some pictures, whether you use your phone camera or an actual digital camera and such, but make sure you get some pictures so that the lender can get an idea of what he's looking at and what he's looking for. Very simple when you look at it. It's not a lot of work. It just needs to be done in order to give the private lender a good understanding of the deal. And from that, he should be able to make a buying decision or an investing decision as to being able to say, yes, I am interested in this property. I'm very interested in funding it. And after seeing all those things, if they raise their hand and say, yes, I'm interested in funding this deal, they've made, I would say, 90%, if not more, of their decision already. So the rest of the questions are more about where they're asking you for maybe additional clarification or to find out what terms are suitable and things like that. That is what the majority of the conversation is going to be, because they'll already have made a majority of their buying decision or investing decision up. So that is a phenomenal thing, and it does a lot of your work for you. So make sure that you put your best foot forward in the presentation. And an example of a presentation that I did, and this is a deal that I actually got funded. It was on a mobile home park. And this is exactly as it reads. As per our previous call, and this was a call that was made to let them know that the submission was coming. This is a summary of the Lubbock, Texas mobile home park. This property represents a fantastic opportunity. The property appraiser's office lists the property address as 123 Street, Lubbock, Texas. Of course, that's not the actual address, but you get the point. Lubbock County Property Appraiser's link for the property is here, and that's where you would put the link. So I do want you to include, just so you realize, I want you to include, if you're going to give me the value from Zillow, if you're going to give me the value from Trulia or the tax assessed value, I want you to include the link to that value as well, so that the private lender or ourselves can click on it and verify the property and the things that you're saying. That adds to the credibility. So, Lubbock County Property Appraiser's link for the property, and that's where the link would go. Find pictures of the property and the attachments. Now, I didn't include the pictures in this, but know that they would be attached to the presentation. Now, the park is around 40 acres and consists of 215 lots, of which between 85 and 90 of the lots are rented, with an average rent of between $150 to $160 per month. With monthly rent revenues at close to $15,000 per month, this property will pay for itself with a huge upside, because as you can see, this is less than 50% occupied. So even at that 45 to 50% occupancy, it's bringing in $15,000 a month. This is adding to his benefit. It's adding to the story of what we're telling him as to why this makes sense, as to why he's going to get his payments, as to how he's going to get paid. The purchase price, including the assignment fee, is $1 million, with the seller carrying back $650 in a second. He will also be giving us a 12-month moratorium on payments to bring the park up. In other words, he's carrying back a second for $650, which leaves only $350, and we'll talk about that in a second, but $650 in a second, and he's giving us 0 payment, 0 interest for 12 months while we bring the park up to closer to full occupancy. This will give us full income to pay your mortgage and to bring the property up in income as well. That's adding to his security. Now, this is very important to include. This is why it's such a good deal, because a private lender is going to ask that many times. How come if you're telling me it's worth $1 million and you can get it and I can get it for $400,000 or $350,000, how exactly is it that I'm getting such a good deal? Well, I'm answering that question before he even asks it. The reason the seller is selling the park for such a good deal is because he is in his 70s. He's retired and lives in a different state. He's not able to effectively manage the park and sees us as a value to benefit the park. Now, at a 10 cap, the property currently is worth about $1,092,000, with a pro forma of $2.138 million. So, in other words, close to doubling in value at 85% occupancy with 35% expenses. Very doable, and the expenses are high on purpose to underpromise and overdeliver. The loan amount we are seeking is $350,000 with a negotiable interest rate in term. Now, guys, I recommend instead of putting down what you want for your interest rate, that you put down that it be negotiable. Chances are you're still going to be able to negotiate while you're in conversation, but you don't want to disqualify yourself from any private lender because you put down an interest rate that's too low. So I always put down that it's a negotiable interest rate in term. Should you have any questions concerning the property, please feel free to contact me at any time, and you put your contact information. Thank you again for reviewing the offering, and that's where I signed. Now, that is not really that difficult a process, and yes, this will be used. This is an example. That'll be a template that is going to be placed in the members section, so that you'll be able to use that as an example and as a template for you as you go on. I'm also going to be including in the members section a few other templates very similar, or a few other examples that you can use to tell the story, to tell your executive summary, and you'll find them in the members section. And along with that, I'll even include an executive summary of how a business is proposed for funding. And keep in mind, all of these examples have been funded. So if they didn't make money, you won't find them. So, but this is an example of how this property and deal submission could be placed. It answers all those questions. It gives the property address. It gives valuation with supporting factors. In some of the cases, the supporting factors were the tax assessment. It also was the income. And by the way, in that link that I sent, it also provided the list of renters that were in there, because in Lubbock County, the property assessor doesn't charge taxes unless the property is rented, or that lot is rented. So it actually gave me a list through the property assessor site of all the owners of of models that were in the park. That showed them proof from the city that the tenants were there. And there were between 85 and 90 tenants that were currently in there. So that is a great way, and there are additional ways like that that you can find for any given property that will add to the security. Make sure that you answer that question. What's their collateral? What's their security? Put yourself in their shoes and ask yourself, what would you need in order to answer that buying question? Now, this loan that we were seeking was $350,000 in a first mortgage with negotiable interest rate and terms, with a seller carryback of $650,000. The answer was yes, my friends. The private lender funded the deal and actually gave me $400,000, which covered all my closing costs, and there was actually money left over at closing. So not only was it a no money down deal, but it was also a cash back at closing deal, and it was so secure that the private lender had no problem with it, and that those monies were used towards building up the park. So hopefully that helps you in understanding what we're looking for in a process as far as the deal submission. Now, for proof of funds, this is very important. This is something that you're definitely going to want to know about. This is definitely something that, like I said, you can use this for your business. You can use this as additional value for your clients. And so this is something that you're going to want to take notes on. Now, initially, you're just going to turn in these items as far as the in the request. You're going to send an email. It's going to say proof of funds request letter, and it's going to include these items. Number 1, client's business name. Number 2, the client's name. Number 3, the email address that you want this proof of funds letter sent to. Now, this could be the client, this could be yours, but the email address that you want the proof of funds sent to. The phone number, the client's offer price, the seller's name, the property address, the property city, the property state, property zip, and additional information you would like us to consider. In just an email, if you want to take these items, we're going to have that list in the section under bonuses, and you're going to be able to just copy and paste it and add that into the email. In the very near future, we're going to go ahead and put the link up so that you can just plug it right into the members area, and it will go ahead and provide you a proof of funds. And yes, this is a completely verifiable proof of funds letter, and it is completely real. This is not something that even though you get, and you can get as many as you want, and you can provide them to as many clients as you need, they are completely verifiable because this source has a truckload of money to do transactional funding. And as I said, the transactional funding for 24 hours, their cost is $1.75. If you want to add additional fees to that, that does not hurt to be able to add value and to be able to add some additional money and revenue into your pocket. It'll buy you a meal at McDonald's or two. And when you get into the bigger deals, 1 point is not a small amount. Now, how to get paid. And if you go to your member section, we're building a template list of forms that you're going to be able to go over and that you're going to be able to use to include fee agreements, consultation agreements, marketing agreements, processing agreements, partnership agreements, and the ability to work with mortgage brokers. Now, we have at least one of the documents, if not more, in the section right now. However, We are right now having our attorneys just make sure that they are compliant for the areas that we have students in, and not just for one area. That's what we're having them do right now, and you will soon see quite a few of these forms in that section. But until then, you do have one form in there, and we will we'll go through how to use that form in the module that we go over in regards to legalities and forms, where we're going to actually have an SEC attorney on the line and in the presentation to tell us what's right, what's wrong, and how to keep ourselves clear of any SEC violations. So, in regards to that, as I said, there's a consultation and marketing template in place, along with some pointers, and you can use it as a basis to work off of. Partnership agreements will be in place, and you can always use a partnership agreement to get paid. Processing agreements. Now, that's where you can actually build relationships with actual mortgage lenders and brokers in your area, and you can work as a processor under their license. And that's something that we will, again, be going more in depth into as the presentation goes, and as the modules will go. So you'll definitely want to listen into our module coming up, where we're going to have the attorney actually go through specifics on how to keep clear of the SEC. Now, what's next is the question. This was our section on giving you a fish, and as I was talking about, you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach a man to fish, and you feed him for the rest of his life. That is, of course, as you've heard me say on the webinar, that's the basis of what we do this, because neither option in and of themselves is a full option. We've just given you a fish by giving you access to the Rolodex, and by being able to submit deals and get paid through our relationship with these private lenders. But I want you to be able to say, like me, that you could put me in any area of this country, and from scratch, within only 7 business days, within only a week, I would have access, and I would find access to enough private money to do any deal I wanted to. That's from scratch. You could take me to California. You could take me to Florida. You could take me to Hawaii, to Alaska, and I would find more than enough money at my fingertips available to do any deal I want to. Well, that's where I'm going to teach you to fish. Next week, we're going to actually go over how to get access to a truckload of private lenders that are already in your area, a little army of private lenders that are already lending, that are already doing business in your area, and through you're going to have access to them, and you're going to be able to contact them and do business with them immediately. You'll find private lenders in your area your very first day. So next week is going to be a really powerful, really exciting time, and guys, we're getting into the meat of it. You're definitely going to love that part where you can find all the private money you'll ever need. You won't, again, you'll love the Rolodex, and you'll love your own database. And there's going to be so much money, you're going to have the ability to do deals all over the country, to do deals in your area, and to be able to say, I am the private money wholesaler. I am able to fund your deals. That's such a powerful thing to be able to say and be able to back it up. And you're going to have that power at your fingertips. So definitely come back next Tuesday for that module. It's really powerful. It'll change your life. Now, also, obviously, you know that next Thursday is going to be, or this Thursday, a couple days from now, is going to be the Q&A call. So what I want you to do is please leave your comments and questions on the module page for this module in your members area. That's module 2, just in case. You want to make sure that you put your Q&A in there. I do want to make sure that the questions are placed in there because I received questions, as I'd asked last time, at my email. And I did receive them, and I made sure I answered them on the Q&A. However, some people missed that, and as a result, they didn't realize that I had answered their question. And so they thought that I had not specifically answered their question since I hadn't sent it in email, but I'd answered it in the Q&A. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to go ahead and place your questions and your comments on the module page under Module 2, and then, of course, under Module 3, you're going to ask the questions pertinent to that, and so on and so forth. But that will allow me to go to one place and answer those questions. I will try and answer them there, but I will definitely also answer them in the Q&A section, and it'll give me an opportunity to answer them and prepare myself to the fullest ability. So definitely make sure that you do that. And put in your questions ahead of time, like I said. Put them there in that module section so that I'll have a lot of questions. We went almost 2 hours last week, and it was some of the most fun I've ever had because I was able to answer your questions live and the questions that you had posted in the email. I was so glad to do that. I want to make sure that we have continuing contact and plenty more questions. So be sure to post those questions early so that I can make sure that you are given so much content and given so much answers and so many tools available to you that you have no choice but to succeed. Well, thank you, everyone. I appreciate all the time that you guys have spent here. I hope this was informative to you. I hope that this answers some questions on how to work with the Rolodex and what to do in regards to submitting deals. If you will, make sure that you join us on the Q&A. Make sure that you put your questions in ahead of time. So thank you again. Make sure you join us this Thursday at 2 o'clock Central and 12 o'clock Pacific and 3 o'clock Eastern. So make sure you join us, and we look forward to our time with you then.